Even after 2 decades, the story of Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie still feels unfinished to many people.
Their relationship was bold, intense, and unforgettable, but the way it ended was strangely quiet.
There were no explosive accusations, no dramatic public battles. Just silence.
And for years, nobody truly understood why. Billy Bob Thornton rarely spoke about the divorce. When asked, he would dodge the question with humor, joking about hiding in hotels after every failed marriage. But inside, there was more to the story. As time went on, he slowly began to open up, and what he finally revealed showed a side of their love story that the public never really saw. Long before Angelina Jolie entered his life, Billy Bob was already carrying scars from a difficult emotional past. A man built from broken relationships. By the time he met Angelina in 1999, Billy Bob Thornton had already been married 4 times. Each relationship had left behind emotional weight that shaped the man she would eventually fall in love with. His first marriage was to Melissa Lee Gatlin in 1978. At the time, Billy was a struggling young artist trying to find his place in Hollywood. They had a daughter together, Amanda, but the marriage collapsed within 2 years. Later, Billy admitted he wasn't ready for responsibility or family. Life was unstable, money was scarce, and his emotional state was fragile. His daughter grew up mostly estranged from him, and that distance followed him like a shadow for years. His second marriage to actress Toni Lawrence also lasted only 2 years, from 1986 to 1988. He was still chasing acting work, staying awake at night writing scripts, and jumping from small opportunities to survive. There was no space for emotional stability.
Then came actress Cinda Williams.
They worked together, bonded creatively, and believed they were in love. But that marriage ended in 1992. Later, both admitted they never should have married in the first place. His fourth marriage, to former Playboy model Pietra Dawn Cherniak, was the most chaotic. They had 2 sons together, and from the outside, everything looked stable.
But behind closed doors, the marriage became toxic.
By 1997, it ended in a very public, bitter divorce surrounded by serious allegations. Billy denied many of the claims, but the emotional damage was real. By the late 1990s, Billy had started to believe he wasn't built for marriage at all. Love felt like something that burned bright and died quickly. He joked often about disappearing to hotels after breakups. But that humor covered insecurity, fear, and loneliness. That's when Angelina Jolie entered his life. When Angelina arrived, everything shifted. In 1999, Billy Bob Thornton met Angelina Jolie while filming Pushing Tin.
He was 44. She was 24. He was already engaged to actress Laura Dern at the time.
Angelina, on the other hand, was known as a fearless, emotional, and unpredictable rising star. From the first moment, something shifted between them.
People on set noticed it.
It wasn't slow or subtle.
Their connection was instant and powerful. But Billy wasn't free.
While Laura Dern was away filming another project, Billy and Angelina grew closer. Then, without warning and without explanation, Billy married Angelina in Las Vegas in May 2000. Laura Dern later revealed that she learned about it the same way everyone else did, through the media. She never received a call.
No goodbye. No explanation.
That moment created a cold shadow that followed Billy and Angelina's marriage from the very beginning.
A love too loud for the world. Once together, they were inseparable.
They praised each other constantly. They held hands everywhere. They spoke in interviews like they were 2 halves of one soul.
Angelina followed him to sets. Billy refused long separations. To fans, it looked romantic. To critics, it looked overwhelming.
To the media, it was chaos waiting to be turned into headlines. The infamous blood necklaces became the most talked about symbol of their love. In truth, it was nothing extreme, just tiny lockets containing a symbolic drop of blood from a fingertip. But tabloids exaggerated the story until it sounded like they were walking around with full vials of blood hanging from their necks. Billy later laughed and said, "By the time the press was done, it sounded like we were carrying buckets of blood."
The media also focused heavily on the 20-year age gap.
Yet emotionally, they felt similar, both intense, misunderstood, and emotionally raw.
But their differences were already starting to cause cracks. And hanging over everything was the memory of Laura Dern. They didn't explain. They stayed silent. And that silence slowly created distance between them and the world, and eventually between each other. The quiet collapse. By 2002, the relationship began changing behind closed doors. Angelina's world was expanding rapidly. She was winning major awards, becoming one of the most photographed women in the world, and developing a powerful interest in humanitarian work. Billy, meanwhile, was shrinking inward. He openly described himself as agoraphobic. He hated crowds. He hated large public spaces. He preferred quiet rooms, familiar routines, and privacy. Angelina lived loudly. Billy lived quietly. When Angelina adopted Maddox from Cambodia in 2002, everything shifted. For her, motherhood felt natural. It felt like destiny. Billy went with her. He supported her. But inside, he felt overwhelmed. This wasn't the life he felt prepared to live. He loved children, but he wasn't prepared for how quickly everything changed. They slowly began living separate emotional lives. Angelina moved forward. Billy stepped backward. By the end of 2002, they were rarely seen together. Not because of scandal. Not because of cheating. Not because of fighting. They simply became strangers to each other. Their divorce was finalized in 2003. For nearly 20 years, people guessed what went wrong. Affairs. Fame. Chaos. Scandals. But Billy finally said the truth in simple words. We had different lifestyles. That was it. Angelina was built for movement, change, travel, impact, and global living. Billy was built for stillness, quiet, safety, and small spaces. Neither was wrong. They just weren't aligned. He admitted he never hated her. Never blamed her. He still calls her wonderful. He still calls that time beautiful. The media created monsters out of normal people. The truth was painfully simple. They loved each other, but they were meant for different worlds. Life after Angelina. After the divorce, Billy slowly disappeared from public life. No drama. No headlines. Just silence. He returned to music. Formed a band. Wrote songs. Lived quietly. He chose smaller acting roles. He stopped chasing fame. Then he met Connie England. She wasn't a celebrity. She worked quietly behind the scenes. She didn't crave attention. She didn't push him into chaos. With her, he felt safe. They dated for more than a decade before marrying in 2014. Together, they built a quiet life and had a daughter. When asked why their relationship worked, Billy said, "She's my speed." That one sentence said everything. Meanwhile, Angelina moved into a life of global impact, humanitarian missions, and raising 6 children. Their lives didn't just separate. They became opposites. And yet, there was no bitterness. Only understanding. Sometimes love isn't about how strong it burns. Sometimes it's about whether two people are built for the same kind of life. Billy and Angelina weren't. But what they had was real. And that makes their story human, not a scandal.